Hey guys, so today's video is a mini tea, of course. So it's just some things happening on the internet. If you want more, subscribe, hit that bell, like, comment for engagement. Social media in the description, along with my second channel, which is a movie commentary channel, and let's just get into it. Okay, so I actually forgot to mention this, but obviously we know about everything that Mr. James Charles has been doing. We don't have to go over it again, but a lot of that has been happening on Snapchat, yet the app for menaces to society. I have nothing else to say about Snapchat, actually. That's just all I have to say. It's for the menaces to society. If you use Snapchat and you're normal, let me know. I would like to know that there's some normal people using Snapchat for very normal reasons, and not crimes. That would actually be quite nice for me to hear about, actually. Tell me your normal stories. But he obviously was verified on Snapchat, and a lot of people would add him, and then he'd message these people back in less than appropriate ways, at less than appropriate age groups, less than appropriate stuff, allegedly. And he was recently unverified on Snapchat. Snapchat really just came in. The thing is, right, they unverified him, but they didn't delete his account. Like, to me, it just seems like a little bit of a disproportionate punishment for the crime, alleged crime. This was a figure of speech. I just feel like maybe his account should just be gone. Like, I feel like considering how Snapchat is being used by him, maybe he should just not have a Snapchat. It's the way how he said in his recent video that he's not like approved for dating apps anymore. Fair enough. I just think he shouldn't be approved for Snapchat either, because clearly he's just not capable of using it in a legal way, allegedly. So maybe instead of taking away his verification, just take away the whole thing. Just snatch it from him. So he's unverified now. Doesn't have the star, doesn't, you know, I bet that's hurting his ego. Then we have Tana Mongeau, who recently was dating Chris Miles, then broke up with him, same day got back with him, and now has broken up with him again, and said something about cheating. So clearly there's like a cheating situation going on. She posted how she's essentially just single. But the worst offense of all is not her recent episode of her podcast, but I think it was the one before that, where she mentions how she just like doesn't shower. I just want to talk about that for a second. I want to talk about how we did not need to know that. I want to talk about how it's not actually quirky. She said it's like quirky, cool way, like, oh yeah, I just never shower. Funky, musty, dusty. And like, it's not quirky. It's not quirky. I don't know why she's trying to make that her personality. We saw Emma Chamberlain get bullied over that. We saw Shane Dawson get bullied over that. Can we not repeat history? Please? Yeah, she was like, yeah, I went to Hawaii and for like a week I just didn't shower, and then I just like splashed myself with some water. I was like, okay, well, I've heard enough, actually. I'm just gonna go. I'm gonna get out. She was also on the Mum's Basement podcast. So I love Tana Mongeau stuff today. She was also on the Mum's Basement podcast, where she talks about Austin McBroom, James Charles, and Shane Dawson. I couldn't hold up my finger right. Shane Dawson. So for Austin McBroom, more cheating scandals, of course. So apparently Austin like cheats on people. She mentions that again. She mentions how she has had to like cover up for him in the past. And she mentions how she talks about him a lot on her podcast, because obviously he's having some legal troubles with some of her friends because he's not paying them. So she talks about him. She talks about James Charles and says how he's like an actual danger to society, and how she knew him behind the scenes and stopped being friends with him even before he was exposed. So clearly there was like an issue going on that she saw behind the scenes a long time ago, and then he got publicly exposed. She also mentions Shane Dawson, how he's not as bad as James Charles, but there's definitely things that he has done with her that maybe weren't the most appropriate, like, aka, you know, her peeing on him. I just think when she was like, what, barely 18 and he was like almost 30, and she was... I sometimes just think that's like a fever dream. Like, that can't be real. It can't be real that when I was 15, I watched Tana Mongeau pee on a man. Okay, anyway, let's just forget about that for a second. I'm just being... Yeah, I don't want to think about that anymore. Anyway, inappropriate, right? So she mentions them three. And then... links all together. Catherine McBroom was out and about, and you know, she's on the internet. She hears about these rumors of her husband cheating on her constantly, and apparently she was the one that called Jake Paul to ask if a lipstick that she found in Austin's car belonged to Tana, even though it didn't belong to Tana. And Tana said it did when it didn't, and this recently came out. Catherine was out and about, and she was asked about the cheating scandals mentioned by Trisha Paytas and Tana Mongeau, and she said, I don't know them. I don't know who they are. Which is kind of false, because when Tana was married to Jake Paul, Tana and Catherine would hang out quite a bit, so like clearly she knows who Tana is, and is just doing the whole no comment thing, so... you know. Then we have Addison Rae, who also was caught by paparazzi in like a less than comfortable situation, where she was walking out with Omar Fedi, who's her boyfriend now, and she was asked about you know, the movie and all of that stuff. And then she was told that someone said her movie was the worst movie in the world of all time. And in that moment, she allegedly received a phone call that she heard all the way in her handbag over the noise of LA. And she picked up and she walked off without commenting on the fact that her movie is allegedly the worst movie in the world. I just think that is the most awkward situation to ever be in. She's just walking casually and someone's just like, the movie you did, trash. Do you have any comments about that? Actually, do you want to say anything? I understand why she tried to do the whole phone call thing. I just think maybe if her phone was like in her hand, it would have looked less uncomfortable than her like digging her phone out. They did confirm their relationship now. Some good news. On Instagram, he called them a power couple because his song was #1 and her movie was #1 on Netflix. But obviously that success was short-lived when she was literally like trash in public for it. Your movie was trash. What do you think? It's just mean. It's just mean. Then we have Charli D'Amelio regarding paparazzi again. I feel like paparazzi is like a big topic right now. Charli D'Amelio's reality show came out on Hulu the other day, and there's some clips floating around places. The ones that are like mainly being talked about is how many breakdowns, like mental breakdowns, they both have at such a young age, and how many panic attacks they have over things being said about them, rumors being created, paparazzi. Like there's just a lot of things that are causing these young girls to be having mental breakdowns, and we've seen this play out time and time again with young females in the industry. Like this plays out time and time again. It's almost like we're just not noticing, or we are noticing but we're like not doing anything about it until it's too late. So they talk about that, and they show this clip of Charli and Dixie pulling up to like go out somewhere in LA, and they pull up and there's paparazzi waiting for them literally outside the car. Charli has like a mini panic attack and they leave, and when they're coming back they have like a nice conversation with paparazzi and she gets back in. She's very professional. Like I don't think that was fake. I think that was just called being professional. It's quite literally her job to talk to paparazzi, but she also has the right to have a panic attack over it because she is 16, and she just wants to go out and not have to always answer questions and always, you know, be on her best behavior and always do stuff by the book. So obviously she had a panic attack. She came in, she came out, she answered some questions, she got in the car. This was then included in the show. Now the guy from paparazzi, his @'s pop galore, and he was having not some nice words to say about this. He basically just went off on Twitter and Instagram about Charli. He's basically just like, they're all fake. I knew that none of it was genuine. You're always so nice to me in person, but then you're doing this behind the scenes. I'm just like, whoa, she's literally 17. I think she was 16 at the time, maybe around that 16 mark, but she's probably about close to 17 now. She's a teenager. He's going off on the fact that she's fake and not genuine. She quite literally took the time of her day to answer your questions so you can put it on your YouTube channel so you can get views. But she also showed the behind the scenes of that and the mental effects that it has on her. I think that's a more than fair thing to talk about. I'm so confused. I don't know if that's just me. Let me know what you guys think. This 17-year-old literally had a panic attack knowing that she's going to answer questions that are going to be taken out of context, going to be spun to create a bigger story than it needs to be. She still then went ahead and nicely answered your questions, and you have an issue with that. Even though your whole career is about that. It's about them answering your questions. Like, she's helping you with your job. Anyway, he went on a big rant on Twitter being like, I can't believe it, they're all fake, they're all this and they're all that. And then he went on Instagram and was like, actually guys, I was not talking about the D'Amelio family, I was talking about just in general the producers of the show. I have nothing against Charli D'Amelio. And I think he just was made to say that because he was getting a lot of heat on the internet, because people were literally like, why are you having a go at a child over her having a panic attack? Why are you having a go at her? It's like, I'm not even comparing them to, but it's kind of like, you know how Britney Spears, obviously paparazzi like played a huge role in her having mental breakdowns and not being well mentally. And now everyone's like, oh my god, yeah, like we should have stopped this from happening. And it's literally happening again. This is what I mean. It just happens time and time again. And until it's too late, and until there are huge consequences to these people's actions, people just don't do anything. This 17-year-old having a panic attack over paparazzi asking her questions. Why is she being trashed for that? Anyway, that's just my little opinion. I see him getting a lot of hate on the internet right now. And do I think he deserves the hate? Because once again, then, like, I would be a hypocrite if I was like, don't give Charli hate, but give this guy hate. Like, I don't think any of them deserve hate. But I thought it was just really, it was a strange take from him. But something Charlie did apparently do, is not pay someone for photography. So there's a guy who's a photographer who's actually friends with Danny Gonzalez, and Danny was the one that brought this to people's attention on Twitter. So the guy took some pictures for Charlie that he wasn't compensated for in any way. She then took those pictures and used them in her book, which clearly made her a lot of money, but didn't pay him for anything, didn't give him credit, nothing like that, just took his photos and ran with it. And when he tried to speak out about it, he was getting, you know, emails, phone calls, basically saying that he was going to get sued if he continues to talk about it. There was articles written about this. Once again, he was getting heat for it from their side. I don't know how this is going to play out. I'm hoping that he gets compensated. Realistically, they have enough money to compensate people for their work. Don't know why he wouldn't be compensated. So just do that, I guess. And then we have the LeBron family. So they're like a family channel who are kind of like the Ace family of the internet. Yeah, very similar. And they recently decided to clickbait cancer. I didn't think I'd say that. Anyway, there's like this feature on YouTube where you premiere videos, and it'll be like, all you can see is the title and the thumbnail, and it will be like counting down to when you can finally watch the video, and you click on it and then you can watch it live with everyone else once it like premieres and goes up. And the title and thumbnail insinuated that something to do with cancer was happening in their family, like someone from their family had cancer, because it was just them four in the thumbnail. And people click on it, and around the 7-minute mark they find out there was actually someone else's kids that had cancer, and this was like to bring awareness to cancer, which, like, yes, cancer touches most people in some way, shape or form. Like, stats are like 50% of people are going to get cancer, some kind of cancer. Obviously it's a very important issue to talk about, but to clickbait your own family, like to use your family in a potential hypothetical health issue situation and use that as clickbait to get more people to watch your video, and then put the actual truth at the end of the video so you get the most watch time, just does not sit right with me. I'm sorry, it just doesn't. They didn't talk about who had cancer for like literally 7 minutes of the video. So if the vlog is 10 minutes long and 7 minutes of it is them like hinting at who has cancer, and then they reveal it in the last 3 minutes, that means they had 70% watch time instead of the usual 50%, which gives them more ads, more recommendations. It pushes them more in the algorithm. I'm just getting an icky feeling from this. I just think, yeah, they should have just said, like, just title it something kind of more vague to do with cancer, rather than a whole, you know, just them insinuating that one of them has cancer just does not sit right with me, because they don't. Okay, anyway, that was that. Let me know what you guys think about any of these stories today. Subscribe, hit that bell, like, comment for engagement, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye, guys.